every sizable Fortune 500 company in the world was dumping more and more and more and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars into chatbots, right? And then all of a sudden, what happened, right? ChatGPT comes out, and then boom, now all of a sudden it comes to the next thing where it's like, do.
Welcome back to the List Building Lifestyle. I'm your host, Igor, and today I'm chatting with my good friend Matt Lights from Bot Builders. Matt, welcome to the List Building Lifestyle.
Thank you for having me, Igor. Fired up about this, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. It's been quite a challenge to schedule, for many different reasons. But usually those are the ones that I look forward to the most. And so you're coming on the show now at this really interesting time when I think the world is going through a transition as big as, I'd say, the invention of the internet, the whole AI thing, ChatGPT exploding, Mid-Journey, and all that stuff, right? Now, I'm interested to hear your take on it because, unlike most of us, the mortals, we were really, really far away from this, as far away from this as you can possibly imagine. However, you probably touched this, AI space in some way, shape, or form, because for a few years now, you've been dealing with chatbots. And I think when somebody thinks AI, the first thing that they think about is how, it's being applied to chatbots, or creating a chatbot that is able to talk to people without involving a real human, right? So what's your whole impression of the AI revolution? And maybe if you want to share a prediction or anything like that.
All right, don't let me forget the prediction, because I have a bold one I think that'll really excite people. But I think the first thing to remember is that this AI stuff certainly is not new by any stretch. Needless to say, ChatGPT did revolutionize the world, and I think kind of woke up a lot of people. And really the big thing, because I look at this AI thing very differently than is really being hyped right now. And you got to remember, reality and hype are two different things. And right now it's sort of this hype of, AI is going to take jobs, and like this sort of, the reality of it is that you're right. I mean, this is probably the biggest thing since the internet. But I don't think that AI is going to take jobs, much like Uber took jobs from people who didn't adopt. Clearly there's going to be a part of that. But I mean, if you think about every revolution in technology, and you can go way, way, way back to the printing press. I mean, if you go back, there was actually a small little mini revolution that was happening, and specifically in the country of France, when the printing press started. All of the guys who were doing the illustrations manually came up and said, hey, this is BS. Like, you're going to take all of our business. You can't do this. But then the reality ended up being that their services became even more in demand, because now what it was is the market just got bigger. And because they had that specialty, they were, all like, well, hey man, if we can mass produce these things, yeah, let's go ahead and hire these guys so that they can make these illustrations. So it's just recognizing that it is a shift in where the world's going, but it's just a bigger opportunity. And, it's like, while everybody else is out hyping, like, hey, save money because you need less people. We've hired more people. We're a small business, and we've hired 5 or 6 people in the last 30 days, because we're just like, oh my gosh, now we have these amazing tools and this unlimited opportunity. Like, let's get some humans putting these tools into action. Because if you think about it and just stop and sit back and go, okay, what is AI really going to do for me? All right. Is number one, it's going to save time. Number two is it's going to increase production. Like, you can do more. Right. And then number three is it can open up new channels of creating some sort of, whatever it is. Like, okay, cool. Now we can add a service. Like, For years, we at Bot Builders, we built the best chatbots in the world. And I had to reevaluate that statement very recently. And the good news is now thanks to ChatGPT, we're making the best chatbots in the world even better.
Yo, it's Igor. I want you to have my Amazon best-selling book for free for taking the time to listen to my podcast and to watch my YouTube videos. Now, I'm not only going to give you this book for free, but I'm going to throw in about $3.2 thousand in free bonuses. Now, if you want to get this book, please click the link in the description, or you can also go to igorsbook.com. And now, back to the podcast.
But now, for the first time, we've always said, hey, you know what? We don't want to have an agency. That's too much stress. That's not our deal, right? But now we're looking at it and going, oh my goodness, we can utilize AI in the sales process and the marketing process and the fulfillment process. It's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. And already it's just like we're seeing the benefits of opening up, these entirely new channels. So much of it. And Igor, you made the perfect statement before we started this conversation. We were talking about, I mentioned that I have an assistant, and and I made the statement that it's not always the most intelligent people that are going for that particular position. And you said it has nothing to do with intelligence. It's everything to do with the mindset of the person. And so much of the way that this AI thing is going to end up going is how you look at it. And when you look at, you've probably seen those charts before, the hype cycle, right? Where something new starts, right?
The early
and
adopters and the everything. Yeah. I used to really look at that chart when Bitcoin got hot, and I said, you know what, I really need to get into it. And it's funny because that was back in 2014, and I thought I'm already late. I thought I'm already on the later part of that cycle, but I was still on the upward trajectory.
Well, and it's just, that's a perfect example. So, and it's hard without an illustration, but if you look at the hype cycle, it starts by going, like a gradual, there's a trigger of technology, and then it gradually grows and grows and grows and grows. And then it meets the hype, meeting the excitement, reaches this peak of unrealistic expectations. Right. Meaning like the excitement, just like, when your Uber driver and your waitress and everybody's telling you like, you got to get into AI, you got to get into AI. And what's going to happen inevitably is the hype is going to subside, and it's going to, all of a sudden it's going to be like, because people are going to go, oh yeah, I got AI, I didn't do anything for my business, and blah, 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 right. And then it's going to have this point where it turns around and it starts leveling off, and then it gradually just hits this thing like this. So that's what's going to happen. And when I think back about chatbots, I got in when it was like at that point of actually after that point of hype. And when I just, at the time we had a good business going, and we had a small marketing department. There's a bunch of, I called them the kids because they were all like much younger than I. And they're like, we need a bot. I'm like, we don't need a freaking bot. Like, we have the best customer service in the industry. We're a people company. Like, this is not what we need. Like, I'm hearing all this hype, all this stuff. And then luckily one of them sat me down and showed it to me. And what happened is it changed my perspective on it. And this is where if people are listening to this, that I really want to make this connection, because people are thinking about chatbots and AI and they're thinking it's just cold. It's just like this automation, and it's like, it's taking people and it's disconnecting it. And is that the case? I mean, sure, it could be, but it sure as hell it doesn't have to be. Because the way that we built bots from the get-go is we wanted to build bots that connected people. We wanted to build chatbots that had soul. So really when this whole hype cycle for chatbots was at its peak, and I got in there, what I realized really quickly, well, first of all, this isn't nearly as easy as all the hype, right? Like everybody was saying, hey, build a bot. Like, yeah, like you could build a bot in 5 minutes, but it would be a piece of junk and it'd be completely useless. It didn't really matter, right? So what I realized is that, man, this is a lot harder than all of these gurus are telling you. And you know what? To me, I love that, because I'm like, great, right? That means that I'm going to just figure this out better than everybody else. And what happens is in the hype cycle, you go up here, unrealistic expectations, and then everybody runs in, right? And then they realize it's harder, and then everybody falls to the wayside. So very quietly, we've been building I mean, we're not a huge business. We're about to get in the Inc. 5000 for the second time in a row. So I was good enough that I've got an amazing team here. We just bought our own office building. We're feeling good. We're growing every day, and we did that because when the hype subsided and everybody and this is especially true because Igor, you and I play in this sort of education business, right? And everybody sort of thinks like that, what's happening in this education business is what's happening in the real world. And it sure as hell isn't. Because if you think about chatbots, when all the hype started subsiding in our little space, right? Like I literally had people like saying, are chatbots even a thing anymore? Guess what was happening? On a consistent, ongoing basis, every real company, I shouldn't say real company, every sizable Fortune 500 company in the world was dumping more and more and more and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars into chatbots, right? And then all of a sudden, what happened, right? Chat GPT comes out and then boom, now all of a sudden it comes to the next thing where it's like, do. So if you really look at it, like chatbots and AI are really kind of on this continuum. And, I was bought in from the get-go when it came to chatbots on the interface. Okay. So a lot of people, they're like, oh, it started on Messenger as the primary platform because of the fact that Messenger was just the most developed. It had the most people. I mean, I don't know, it's probably got like 2 billion people on that thing now. It just it was most sophisticated in terms of its usability and ability to create automation. And then this term messenger marketing came out, which I was like, you guys, Facebook is going to freaking hate messenger marketing. We need to quit hyping it. But of course, like everything else, marketers ruined it, right? Did Facebook intend for Facebook Messenger to become the next email marketer? Hell no. Now, I got the opportunity to actually go to the corporate headquarters at Facebook and meet with some of the executives at Messenger. And I asked them, what do you think about the term messenger marketing? And you could literally see them cringe, like that was not their intention at all. So what happened when messenger marketing hit the scenes was like, it was just started out Wild West. People were just gunning out these things like crazy. And then Messenger freaked out and they said, stop the press, right? And they put in these very, very rigid rules. They said, hey, if somebody doesn't interact with your messenger bot within 24 hours, you can't send them a message. And then what happened? 99% of people just bailed, right? And so began the hype cycle going down. And I said, well, thank God, that means that this is going to be a long-term platform, right? Because they're actually protecting it and making sure that the user experience is great. I'm just going to do the absolute best with what they give me in their sandbox. But I'm not worried about messenger marketing because you know what? It's not Messenger. Messenger, yes, is still the best platform when it comes to chatbots, bar none, no question about it. I could talk about that for days. But here's the thing: is if you think about what is a chatbot, okay, the reality of it is we're automations is where it's at.